let's do some goals and automations. I'm not going to get too deep into the templates yet because that's kind of a whole separate thing. But let's just look at, if you go to templates and go to the plus, that's how you can create a new email template or a text message template. But once you have them, then you can start adding them into automations and things, right? So I want to show you that. So to create an automated process, let's keep it real simple. Let's just say that, every day your sales reps are out knocking on doors, going to networking events, and collecting business cards and getting new contacts, right? But they're not coming into your CRM in any automated, electronic way, right? You're just typing them in. Well, what you'll do is you'll create a goal where contacts move through that sales process, right? Just like you see here. So, Angela might start here. And then once I've performed the appropriate actions, she gets moved here. And now I go through the qualification steps, whatever those are in your business, right? But the magic part of this is that at each step, you have automations set up. So you can see the way this is set up is whenever they first come into that stage in the pipeline, they get an email. And then when they've been stalled in the stage for 48 hours, they get another email. And then also when they're added to the stage, we're updating a field with a certain value, which, makes sense in some cases. So you got a lot of flexibility here. Let's just kind of start from ground zero. We're going to go up here to goals plus, give it a name, and sales. You want to make sure and describe this pretty well, and I'll show you why. So sales pipeline for managing follow-up, engagement, qualification, and needs discovery for new leads met at networking events. So be really specific, and you say create goal, and it just creates basically an empty pipeline for you. But if I go here to AI recommend, it's going to build a pipeline for me. You can just hit new stage and we'll say, new lead, and then new stage again, and we'll say qualification, and then needs discovery, and then proposal. So even doing it the manual way, you can see it's pretty straightforward. And then I'm probably in most cases, you want to add one last stage that you might not think of, which is just closing or closed. So I create that stage. And down here, I'm going to mark that as a conversion. And that way the system knows to count that as a conversion, and it's going to be able to compute for you what's your close rate on this overall pipeline. So you can at any time go back and see, of the leads that are coming in from, our networking events, what's our close rate, right? And then you just click on the little gear here and start building your automations. So if I just want to, when an opportunity is moved to this stage, then I want to send an email, right? And then here, you can select an email template that you've already created, or you can go here and say, create new template, and it's going to take you to build one. I'm going to cancel that. So we go back here. I can preview the one, like if I select one that's already built, and I just want to double check, is that really the right one? I can preview it. And there's my template. And then So I want to send an email when it comes into that stage. And I have some options here you can play around with. And then I just say add trigger. And then what you might do in this example is maybe we want to say, and when they click on the email, then I'm going to automatically move them to the next stage. Move to the next stage, not just another stage. So now I'm sending them an email, and if they click, they move to the next stage. So that's all the automations I need for the new lead stage. Now in the qualification stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, when an opportunity is moved to this stage, in this case, I want to schedule a call, right? Because they're, I met them at the networking event. I sent them a follow-up email automatically, and now they've clicked on it. They're kind of raising their hand. Now I'm going to call them and say, hey, Bob, great to meet you, and so on and so forth, right? Now, since this is the qualification stage, one of the things that I like to do is say, when a contact field is changed, and then you say, let's find my budget field. Then I want to move them to the next stage, right? So in other words, in the qualification stage, I need to find out what their budget is. And if it's, if it's not high enough, maybe they aren't qualified or something like that. I don't want to get too complicated, but once I find out what the budget is, then I know what I can sell them, right? So that's the other trigger in this stage. As soon as I find that out, then I'm going to start talking to them about, okay, here's our options for your house or whatever, right? And so you see how that works. You go into every stage and create all sorts of different automations. You can say, when a call is logged with a customer, then do something else. And the then part is very flexible as well. You can send a text message. You can assign it to a different user. So you may have a process where you have some people that do the initial screening, but then they move on to a different type of a rep that does the closing. Well, the system can automatically reassign them to that new person when they get to the right stage. You can post a webhook, and send some data to another system. You can send it to a whole different pipeline. So you could say, hey, when this happens, now they need to go into a different pipeline where we're going to sell them something different. So you have a lot of options there, but that's how you set up a goal. So let's back up. We've loaded some contacts. We've laid out the contact screen. We've created a goal and some automations. You're ready to roll now. I'm going to show you real quickly just where to do a few other things. One is you may be thinking to yourself, hey, this is great, but all my leads come from my website. So how do I get those in there? Well, you go here to forms, and you can use an existing form or create a new form. So if you already have a form on your site, go through the wizard here. It'll give you some JavaScript to paste into that page, and then the leads start going in, and then you can map those fields, the data coming in. Yeah, these are both ones that I created myself. So that's the other alternative. You can use a form that you already have on your website, in which case you just paste some JavaScript into that existing page, or you create a new one here where you build out the pages, the fields that they're going to fill out on that web page right here in SalesNexus, and then you get the embed code and put it in your web page, and that puts this form into that web page. And so when they fill it out, in either case, the data goes right into SalesNexus, and you can link that to one of those goals. So when they come in, they go right into one of those processes, and you treat them like a new lead. So that's how you do that. Also, you'll want to connect to some other systems that you're using. So if you go up here to your profile and go to settings, you want to go to email integrations and make sure and connect to either your Gmail or your Outlook account. And that way the system's archiving all your email correspondence with your customers. You'll want to integrate your phone system. Right now you can connect either Twilio or RingCentral. And that way, when you click in the CRM, it dials your, your business phone number. And most importantly, it records that call, attaches it to the customer's record, and transcribes it.